Hey everybody, going to do a quick video here on how to basically take the instrument cluster out of a Chrysler 2014 Chrysler 300S. I searched all over YouTube, the internet, and came up with nothing. So hopefully this will be useful for those who are trying to accomplish the same task. We're going to kind of do this in reverse order. We've already taken the time to actually remove the instrument cluster, but what we will do is we'll document what it takes to actually put it back together. And there's a couple steps you could probably avoid by following the service manual. But in this particular case, this car had was acquired secondhand, but it had flaws in the lens, the instrument lens. You kind of see the cracks there, and it's something you stare at every day, and it just kind of drives you crazy. So we looked online. This lens cover is actually a replacement part, so you don't have to buy the whole cluster, and you could get one for around $65 including shipping. Look on eBay. You should have a hit there. So anyway, this is basically what we're trying to accomplish, is replace this ugly lens that we're trying to look at every day when we're driving a car. So this is kind of where we're at. We've already removed the instrument cluster, and we got the service manual from Chilton's DIY, because like I said, there was nothing we could find on the internet on how to do this. And trust me, if I could have found a free service manual, I would have grabbed it. But again, exhaustive search showed nothing. So $25 investment was well worth it in our case. But hopefully this video will help those who want to take a chance without buying the service manual, save 25 bucks. So the lower trim panel was removed, but the service manual has you disconnect actually the hood release, which was at the bottom here, and remove all the electrical connectors. But there's really no point in that, because all you need to do really is drop it down and leave all the connectors in place. So again, that'll save you a step there. This lower panel really is just held in by spring clips, as you see here. This side and this side, and a couple of screws on the side. But we'll put this back together once we get the new lens cover on the instrument cluster, and hopefully you can follow along and reverse the procedure to take it out. Alright, so here's the lens cluster as it's removed, and I have the new lens, new part that I spoke to earlier. It costs about $65 shipped. The old one's been removed, and what you want to do is get some canned air and a microfiber towel and meticulously look at the new lens and the instrument cluster. Make sure there's no dirt or dust. Blow that off with the canned air, because once you get it together, you really don't want to have to take this apart again to find a speck of dust. So I want to point out that right here, there's 7 around this instrument lens. There's 7 clips that have to be released to pull the old one off. Very simple. You can kind of see where they clip in, and those have to be just gently pried up and around the edge to get the old one off, and it pulls straight off, and the new one just pushes on. The instrument cluster with a new lens on there, I think it looks spectacular. Got as much dust and lint out as we could. And there's one electrical connector on the back. Plugs in, as you can see, it's here on the dash. And simple press will release that from the cluster as you pull out. So we're just going to connect the instrument cluster back up with the one connection. You can't see it in the back here. It snaps in, and we'll position this. There's 4 screws that hold it in place. All right. 2 at the top. Get those started. And don't over tighten those because you are screwing into plastic. You don't want to break your new lens. Oh, just nice and snug. And then we got 2 in the bottom. Be careful you don't drop those. Get it in there. A little fiddly. There we go. And one over here. Started by hand, and you get a screwdriver in there. It really helps to have the steering wheel tilted all the way down, give you more access. And it's currently down as far as it will go. Again, it's just snug. Double check that one. All right, cool. And then this trim collar just has 4 spring clips, 2 on this side and then 2 on the other side, and they just push straight in as you reseat this. And of course, to remove it, you just pull straight out. It snaps in place nicely. This is the bottom. This is kind of the biggest piece we're dealing with. The lower steering column cover, or kick panel, or whatever you want to call it. There's 3 spring clips at the top that push straight in, and there's one, you can't see it really well, in the back here in the bottom right as you face it. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, don't disconnect these cables. There's no need. It's extra work. Just leave them in place and let it hang as you get the instrument cluster taken out. So now we're just going to position this, and we're just going to push it straight in. Line up the spring clips, like so. And that was it. And there's only 2 screws. The service manual said there was 3, but I only found 2 on the door side that held this bottom panel in. So your mileage may vary, but this one, like I said, only had 2 screws holding it, and the spring clips that we mentioned earlier. So we'll put these back in. Starting by hand. Put that one in there. Again, don't need to really torque on these, just get them snug. There's no reason to apply a lot of torque here. Alright, good. And this is the side trim piece, and it's only held in by spring clips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spring clips. It's got 1 guidepost, and you just need to use a proper trim removal tool. I bought this set off of Amazon that worked really well. These are fiber plastic, and you can wedge those in there to remove the trim piece without marring anything. So as I put this together, I'll kind of show you how it was to remove it. Again, all spring clips hold it in. And basically, you use a tool like this. Don't use a screwdriver because you're going to damage the interior pieces. Get the proper tools. I think this set costs like $8. And if you damage it with a screwdriver, you're going to hate yourself. So just put it in, just pop it back in place. There we go. That's in there solid. They have you remove these 2 trim pieces. Again, we're doing this in reverse order, but you get the idea. This one goes here, and you got a little small trim piece on the right hand side of the steering column, goes there. Again, look, no screws holding it in, just spring clips, as you can see. And to get that out, you just work the edges of your proper trim removal tools in there, and just apply and pry, and just be gentle. Don't force anything, but it should come out. So we'll pop these in. so. And then this one goes over here. You just line that up into the, like that, pops in. Again, to remove it, just kind of work this tool in there, it's like so, and do some gentle prying as you go around. As you can see, with the proper tools, there is no damage whatsoever. Piece going on, and the first piece to come off, actually, when you're doing this, is the instrument cluster hood. It's got essentially 2 guide posts here, and these 3 spring clips is what holds it on, and they go in these slots right here. And no prying required here, but the method for removal is to pull straight back. I actually saw there was a question on a Chrysler 300 forum where someone was asking how to remove this instrument cluster hood, and there was no answer. And I'm like, well, it's pretty simple. Of course, we bought the service manual, and it just says to pull straight back towards the driver's seat. And sure enough, it just lets loose, and these, like, 3 spring clips just hold it on. So we're going to put that on in reverse order, and that's it. She's on. And we'll move the steering wheel back up. The first thing we did actually was lower the steering wheel, so we'll move it back up into play. Gave you access to get that out. All right. Okay, yep, I forgot to mention the absolutely first thing you do when you're pulling the instrument cluster or working in the dash is you disconnect the positive or negative, obviously, up the battery. Either one will do, but we took the positive post and disconnected it, and we'll just put that on here. Work that in. You got to be real careful with your wrench when you're dealing with a positive post. You don't want to short this wrench out to anything metal because it will be a bad day. So that's why some people say take the negative post off. It's safer when you don't have to worry about a wrench shorting anything to the chassis, causing a real problem. Let's get that on there. That on. Don't have to be real tight, but you want it nice and snug. Get good connectivity. All right, there. Okay. And put the red protective cap on there, and then shut this down. The Chrysler 300 has such a beautiful dash. And we're back to looking brand new for basically, in my case, $65 for the replacement part, $25 for the manual, and some time. That concludes the little video how to take the instrument cluster out of a Chrysler 300S. In this case, it's 2014, but it applies to other adjacent years as well. Hope it's been helpful. Take care.